What is up, YouTube? Today we're back at it with another video. This one is going to be fairly quick. I am just very happy to say that this morning, I had passed the AZ-900, which is also known as the Azure Fundamental Certification provided by Microsoft. It is pretty much an introductory certification into the Azure platform. I was not planning to get any certifications related to the cloud just yet, but I had received some deals with Microsoft, getting some free certifications up until June or July. So I'm definitely going to take advantage of that. So today we knocked out the AZ-900. Up next will be the AZ-104, and then maybe a security certification if I have time to continue my studies. With that being said, prior to my studies, I was a bit intimidated by the amount of information that I have never dealt with, never learned, never studied, never read. So I was kind of scared of going into it. I thought it was going to be a lot. It is a lot, but throughout my studies, I've actually found that I enjoy it a lot. So maybe even looking into getting a job with it within the Azure platform, whether that's for Microsoft or for another company that employs the cloud services. Time will tell. I would like to also say that with Microsoft, because of their education and their documentation, I felt it made everything a lot easier. Like I said, we were able to knock out that certification this morning, and we were able to pass with flying colors. So with that being said, the purpose of this video is to just quickly cover 3 or 4 references or sources that I used to pass the AZ-900 in less than 2 weeks. So the first resource that I would like to call out is going to be obviously the learning platform with Microsoft. So if you went to Google and you just Googled certifications Microsoft, you'll be able to get to this page, which obviously provides tons of certifications for different topics and areas within Microsoft, not just Azure or the cloud. But for today, we're focused on AZ-900. So if you scroll down a little bit, this will be one of the first certifications listed here, the Fundamental Certification. So go ahead and click on that. This is going to be pretty much an overview of what you're going to get into if you were to follow this learning path, essentially. You don't have to log in. I do suggest that you log in because not only does it save you progress, but it also gives you like achievements and levels, which is kind of cool, kind of gamifying the studying, which I love about technology. Kind of keeps you into it. Yeah. So like I said, it's going to pretty much give you an overview of what the exam is, what we're going to talk about in this lesson. Like I said, there's going to be badges that you could also use and share. And then if you scroll down, you're going to see the certification details. So here's going to be the exam, which only has one exam. You pass the exam, and then you're going to get the certified Azure Fundamentals. First, before you get into the lessons, I think this is something that is definitely overlooked. So you're going to want to download these certification skills online, which will bring up this PDF document, and it will cover all the different topics on the exam and the percentages of each of the topics. So what I suggest, or what I did for me, is I would after studying everything, I came back here several times actually, and I would kind of just read each bullet statement, kind of seeing if I had any questions about any of that. Maybe like high availability, like what is that? Scalability, the difference between CapEx and OpEx. So now looking at this PDF, I could pretty much break it down in my head very quickly as to at least a summary of what is going on in each of these statements. So I suggest you do the same, because everything that is on this, and I believe this does get updated. I don't know how long or how often this exam gets changed, but maybe before you do it, just do another download to make sure that you are on the right one and you're studying for the right material. Alright, so if you scroll down a little bit more, you will see that there's 2 ways to prepare. What I did was the online free lesson, but there is a instructor led, which is paid. So I'm assuming that there's some classes that you guys would sit in on, and they would go over this in a live session or something like that. Like I said, I like to do everything on my own if it's possible, and that's what I did here. So there's going to be like 5 different learning paths, and then within each learning path there's going to be modules. So if you were to start it, and this is where, if you were logged in, this is like the XP you would get for the different levels as you go through the modules and you complete the lessons. Pretty cool. There's gonna be some videos kind of doing an overview. Let's go ahead and we'll just start this. Alright, so after clicking starting this lesson, this is kind of a quick overview of what you're gonna see. This first one's obviously gonna be basic overview of this lesson. Then it goes into more specific the cloud. Obviously each module is going to be different, and then at the end of the module there will be some like a little quiz. I think it's like 4 or maybe 3 questions, so we'll just kind of skip to the end so you kind of see it. But as you can see, the documentation is it's perfect, covers every aspect of the exam. And there's also even throughout the lessons, there wasn't many. I thought there was going to be more, but there's some sandbox environments that you could set up, and it will walk you through the platform. So that is when I think you actually need an account, otherwise you wouldn't be able to participate. And then here you go at the end, the knowledge check, basic questions. Alright, so the next resource that I would like to talk about is going to be the John. Forgive me if I say it wrong. It's either Saville. I'm not really sure, but this guy is awesome. His videos are great, and his material is just covers everything within the exam. So as you can see, he covers all different aspects and different certifications, and I think he works for Microsoft if I remember his introduction. But if you take a look at the AZ-900 fundamental certification course, in here there is 55 videos that he will cover each topic, and he goes pretty in depth. He uses a whiteboard in the background. What I did with this is I just watched the videos. I did do I spread it up to like 1.2, I believe it was, or maybe 1.5, I'm not sure. But I also, as I sat there, I took a lot of notes, which I'll show you at the end. So like I said, there's 55 videos, covers every topic within the exam, super useful. And then at the end, another resource that I used just while I was doing like random stuff around the house was I would put on the study cram, and he had updated this just last month, which is super useful again. So it's obviously using the most recent material. But yeah, I suggest maybe if you're doing the dishes or cleaning up around the house, or if it's coming down to like that last minute, that last week when the test is coming up, just kind of throw this on in the background, so you're just hearing different concepts and terms getting thrown at you, and then you could just maybe quiz yourself while you're listening to it, or whatever the case may be. Alright, and the next reference, this book I had actually purchased before even talking about the certification. I think I bought it around Christmas time, or maybe before that. I actually bought the paperback version of it because I knew in the future this is something I wanted to look into. I just wasn't sure when, and I did set some goals for this year to read more books, and this was one of them. So it kind of worked out. I had this book, and I completed this from the very first page to the very last page, and I did it within like 2 days. I took a lot of notes on it as well, and I thought this book was probably up to par with the learning lessons in the Microsoft lesson plan, I guess you could say. If not, it probably even provided a little bit more. There was like some spots where it would say like this is not covered in the exam and stuff like that. But either way, it was a great book. At the end of each chapter, it also had an overview, or a pretty much just covering a brief cover of everything that it covered in that chapter. So at the end of that, or at the end of the week of last week when I finished this book, I just went through each chapter again and then just looked at the overview of it to kind of familiarize myself again with what we covered in each of those chapters. Alright, and then the last resource is going to be the Wiz Labs. So I did some research online. I did a lot of searching on Reddit and just different places on Google, trying to find the best place to have some practice exams. This is one of the references that came up quite often, so I jumped on it. Especially when it was, I actually bought it on Valentine's Day, and it had a 50% off, I think, or maybe 60 or 40, something like that. It was a super good deal. I think I got it for like $10, $8, something like that. I mean, even without the deal, it's still $15, so that's a pretty good deal right there. I did not do the video course. I just did the practice test, and it came with, I think, 440 questions, and there was like, I want to say 10 practice exams. One was free, 9 others, I want to say, and then there was like a breakdown of each exam topic that had like 5 to 22 questions in each of those as well. So what I did is I would log on when, like, 2 days before the exam. I started doing these to kind of cram it, and I did each exam twice, and then each of these specific topics I did once. That's because I felt I was comfortable with it because I was 90% or higher on each of them, and I didn't feel I need to keep doing it. Alright, well, that covers pretty much all the resources that I had used. I just wanted to show, again, I don't know if I think I talked about it in another video, but I use Joplin for all my note taking. So if I were to open that, as you can see, these are the 3 references or resources that I talked about, and then in each of those I took a lot of notes. A lot of it's kind of just a basic, I'm not the best note taker, which I want to practice on, because I feel like sometimes I was like literally going word for word or whatever the case may be. But I love Joplin. I'm getting better with the markdown language to kind of, which, I mean, this is super easy to make it look like that. But what I did with this last day, the last day before the exam, and then on the morning of the exam, I went through all my notes just very quickly. Probably spent 20 minutes in each of those notes to kind of remind myself as to what I covered. Just like simple terms, like this morning when I took the exam, I remembered that the Azure stack and what that was as soon as I read it, because before that we didn't really cover that too much in the book or even on the online platform. So just having that there kind of helped me out. Alright, so that's going to be it for today's video. Like I said, I just want to give you guys the tips and resources that I had used for the AZ-900 certification. Now, this may change in the future, as this is 2022. It might change next year, so these resources might not still be viable. But I do suggest that everyone that is looking to go into the cloud to take this certification. That is the advice that is given a lot, especially for this one, as if it's your first online certification, it kind of gets your feet wet into how it will go, and it'll kind of boost your confidence as well. Alright, so I'm going to close the video out here. Be on the lookout for some new videos over the next 2 weeks before I start my next certification studying. So I want to kind of do some personal projects on the side, get some more videos up there. Because I know when I study for the AZ-104, I'm going to be busy again, and I do like to get some content out there and also work on my side projects. Alright, so with that being said, as always, never stop learning.